Hello and welcome to the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast. This podcast takes you behind the scenes of very successful mortgage businesses across North America and shares with you the strategies, systems, marketing, and philosophies of these businesses and takes you behind the scenes of the structures of how these business owners are building such incredible mortgage businesses. Our goal with this podcast is to help you understand how to create and grow a mortgage business that makes you truly wealthy. And that includes both the money and the time that you need to truly live a life of freedom. Now, during these interviews, I look to pull out at least 3 incredibly valuable and life-changing tips from each guest, and they tend to show up near the end of each episode for some reason. So make sure you stay to the end. And when you find value in one of our episodes, please take the time to head on over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star rating and review. It makes a big impact on our ability to continue to attract top performers and give you incredible value on the show. So thank you for listening to the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast. My name is Chris Johnstone. I'm your host. Let's get started on getting you one step closer to wealth in your mortgage business. Well, hello, everybody. Today, we are blessed with Brian Mozley on the show. Brian, welcome to the show.
Happy to be here. Yeah, really excited to be able to spend some time with you, Chris.
Awesome. And we will get right into it. So I know you have built an incredible mortgage business. First off, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's been a journey, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
So for all the listeners today, if you wouldn't mind sharing, like, where did you start? How did you get into the mortgage business? And then where are you now? What does your production look like now?
Yeah, so I got into the mortgage business when I was pretty young. My background was in finance. I got a business finance degree and didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I was in my early 20s trying to figure things out, worked for my dad for a little bit doing some sales and, just trying to figure out who you are as a person and what you want to do. And was very fortunate to find my way into the mortgage business. I was actually selling websites and happened to try to sell a website to a mortgage broker. He ended up recruiting me.
No way.
And I worked, so kind of ironic. And I ended up working for him for about a year and was 25 years old, young and dumb, thought, hey, I can do this on my own. And at the time, you just had to be breathing and, have a year of mortgage experience, and they'd give you a mortgage business license. So started off as a mortgage broker back in 2006. And man, Chris, really, I struggled for a lot of years to get any kind of traction and figure out what to do. I didn't have mentorship. I didn't have people that I could lean on to teach me, how you do this. And a lot of it was just really struggling with backward mindsets, thinking about things the wrong way. And you think about how you grow a business and the successful people who have done that. I was basically doing everything opposite of that and banging my head against a wall, trying to figure out, why am I not getting anywhere? And so I really had a love-hate relationship with mortgages. And, about 5 years ago is really when I started seeing a lot of growth in my business. I had one processor about 5 years ago. So I had gotten to that point. But I was really only doing about 5 loans a month. That's really where I'd built it to. And if you rewind, to years before, there were years that were worse than that. So, so that's where I kind of came from, and it's been a really big, huge change just in the last few years.
That is amazing. And so, if you don't mind sharing, where are you at now?
Yeah. So fast forward now, I've had about 500% growth.
Wow.
I'm closing right around 25 to 30 loans a month of my own personal production. And I actually have a few producing loan officers who work with me as well. So I originated somewhere around 65 million last year. This year I'm on track for 75 million.
Wow.
And my business is going to close around 115 million this year, I think. And last year was right around 110. So a lot of growth.
That is amazing. And congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
You mentioned backwards thinking. And so can you give me an example of some of those thinking habits that you had that now you've turned around? Because I think that would be helpful for listeners.
Yeah. So I really like to term it as having a scarcity mindset versus an abundance mindset.
Okay.
Being so focused on trying to protect and hold on to what you have versus having a mindset of I'm going to go out and bring in more and build and grow and create. And that's really what I struggled with for a long time, is just knowing how to take risks, how to focus on bringing more business in and focusing on those high value, high dollar activities instead of I'm going to spend all of my time trying to save this one deal so I can pay the bills next month, having more of a long-term mindset. And then I think the other thing is I was the bottleneck. I was doing everything, and there's only so much that I can do. And there's certain things that I'm really great at. And there's, just being honest with you, certain things that I'm not. And I was spending so much time focusing on those things that I was not good at, trying to get better at those things, instead of just staffing my weaknesses and finding people that were much better at those things than I was. So finding your who, really is, I think, a good way to think of it. Who can come in and make me better, honestly? And then I can focus on the things that I'm great at.
Yeah.
Or above average at.
And that's, it's so powerful because oftentimes loan officers feel like they have to be part of every part of the loan process.
So true.
And that's really where you can get tricked up and get caught in patterns that don't serve you and just keep you exactly where you're at.
Yeah, I think a lot of loan officers, myself included, we almost kind of pat ourselves on the back, and it's like a badge of honor to say I do all of this A to Z.
Yeah.
And really, that's a mentality that you have to let go of, and realize that you're better as a team. You're better when you have other people coming alongside of you to support you.
Yeah, that is so true. So, give me a picture as to what your time looked like. Like when it was you and you were running the business and you were the main person. Like roughly how many hours a week were you working? What did your work-life balance look like?
Some of it depended on how many loans I had this month. I definitely had the roller coaster effect going on where,
Yes.
1 month I'm trying to close 8 loans, but then the next month I've only got 1 because I'm spending all my time on those 8 loans. So there were times where I'd be working 50, 60 hours a week, sometimes more. And then you're trying to get to networking events. You're trying to get out there and meet people, but all of my time was getting sucked up into those things. So I was working hard, not necessarily smart.
Excellent. And what does life look like now that you've got systems and processes in place? What does that work-life balance look like now?
So, now instead of me doing all this on my own or maybe having one assistant, at this point, I've got 22 people working in my company and
Wow.
a lot of people on my team. So, I work less than 40 hours a week. I try to take some time off on Fridays, with just COVID and all the fun things that have been going on in the world right now, been working from home. So I have a lot more freedom. I can go to the zoo with my wife and my daughter. Just did that last week, So yeah, 30 to 40 hours and definitely getting to, my girl's growing up so fast, and it's just great to be able to, try to be present and spend more time with my family. So
that is amazing. Well, to hear, 110 million in volume with your team plus, and having time freedom to work 4.5 days a week, that is phenomenal. So I know you're a member of the Freedom Club.
Yeah,
and that was a catalyst for you into a lot of the systems and the processes that you put in place in the business. Can you walk me through what it was that you did after joining the Freedom Club that really started to move the needle for you? What were the things that you immediately started working on that really started making the growth happen?
Yeah. So, joining the Freedom Club was an eye-opening experience for me. Doing the boot camps, talking to my coach, all of a sudden things that you just told yourself that's not doable, that's not realistic. All of a sudden you're realizing there's all these other people who are doing this, and it changes your mindset and your mentality. It's like drinking from a fire hose. And what you have to do is you have to start picking 1 or 2 things that you're going to start working on and improving on. So my coach and I, when we would meet, okay, what What are we working on right now? How did this go from last time? And you just take it in bite-sized chunks. But the big thing is finding your who. Obviously, that's massive. Finding the right people. And there's a big learning curve with that. I didn't have a lot of experience with managing people. So finding your who, finding people who can come alongside you and support you. The other thing is just different systems. So trying to get yourself out of the weeds. I realized everything flows through my cell phone. Everything flows through my email. And so how do I create the systems to where people can come in and follow our process A to Z? Who's doing what and when? How are we handing things off from one person to the next? Putting in a phone system that forwards to my team and text messages go to my team. So now if someone reaches out wanting a mortgage, I don't have to necessarily take that phone call. I don't have to take that text. I have other people who are doing that for me. So just getting yourself out of those kind of activities, and then you can focus on, creating relationships and building your business. So those are some of the things that we implemented: a team email, team phone number, building out a CRM so that we had automated follow-ups with clients and updates during the loan process. And then obviously, just staffing the right people.
That's awesome. And so did you have one specific hire that you went after first? Like, who was the first person that you hired?
Yeah, I think, first and foremost, you've got to have a loan partner. You've got to have someone who is licensed, someone who you can mold and train. I have a very specific way of what my philosophy is when I'm dealing with my clients. And, I've got that finance background. So it is important to me that we are talking to our clients about all their financial options, that we're really digging into their situation, and there's no cookie cutter loan. So what is right for you might not be right for someone else. And so having a loan partner who understands you philosophically and has the same kind of communication and who can advise your clients, that's a really huge first step.
Absolutely. And that touches on a theme that we're finding in these interviews, of the fact that it's less about a very rigid process of like a checklist that you put people through or anything like that. And it's more about a philosophy of how we treat our clients and our customers, which is...
Yeah, my team is a representation of who I am. If they are talking to a client, if they're talking to a realtor, that's representing me. So it's very important that messaging be crystal clear to my team, and we know what we're about and we know what we're doing.
Yeah, that's I could not agree more. So your first hire was a loan partner, and then where did you grow from there? And I'm assuming that person came in and took care of, like, you would structure the loans, then hand it over to the loan partner, and they would take it from there.
To start, it's a building process. You can't expect too much too quickly, but from there we started. And I'll say this too. I would say joining the Freedom Club. You join the Freedom Club because it's okay. I want to do more business, and you think the hard part is going to be bringing in more loans. For me, that really wasn't the hard part, and maybe it's different for other people. When you start doing the right activities and focusing on the right things, and you have the right mindset, the business comes in. For me, the tricky part was building the right team, finding the right people. And I've had some highs and lows with that. I've had a lot of learning opportunities, I like to call them, with that, where you fail and you did the wrong thing. And what do I take away from that? And so we had a lot of people that weren't the right fit, and they didn't work out. And just learning how to create a team, that's something I think has been my biggest learning curve, and it's something I'm still a work in progress on. But starting with that first loan partner is huge. From there, what we've really done is we brought on loan officer assistants who support my loan partners. So I've got 2 loan partners now. I've trained them to be able to do those high level loan applications and advising clients. And my goal is to get them out of the weeds as well. I want them focusing just like I'm trying to focus on the high value activities, I'm trying to set them up so that they can focus on their high value activities and then build support around them. So I actually have 5 virtual assistants who work for me, and they are like a customer care team, and their whole job is to take care of leads, follow up with the leads, communicate with the realtors, let the realtors know what's going on, get the client to do a loan application, and then assign it to one of my loan partners to tee them up for success. So that my loan partner is basically here's a loan application, call the client, get them pre-qualified, go over the loan options, and then let the realtor know what we're doing. I also have loan officer assistants now who go in, and because I'm a broker, I don't have a big corporation supporting me. So, we send out disclosures, we're running automated underwriting systems, and, requesting initial documents. So I have loan officer assistants who do that. And then we have our processors as well. So, how to grow and in the right order to do it in, I would say you definitely want a loan partner and you want a processor. And then from there, just try to build around them.
That is fantastic. And so much in just that little segment. So we started by talking off about finding the right people. And certainly, I talked to so many loan officers or even branch managers that eventually it comes out like, well, I don't really want rock stars on my team, right? I don't want to hire these people and train them so well because they're just going to leave me and go out and become my competition in my local marketplace. You hear lots of that.
Yeah.
So
sure.
What have you discovered as, the things that you've learned that you think are the most valuable for hiring?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And I think that's a natural concern to have. We do, it's called a DISC test, and that's something that the Freedom Club really talks about. And, the goal is we're trying to find people that complement me, not creating friction, right? Yeah. So I'm really good at creating relationships. I'm really good at strategic thinking. I'm comfortable being on a commission. Other people want stability. They want to be a part of a team. They want to support. They like to be able to sit in front of a computer and merge PDF documents all day, which to me, I'd rather be doing anything else other than that. Yeah. The idea of going out and having to talk to realtors and make relationships and bring in business is not something that they enjoy. So you're really trying to find the right people who will want to be a part of a team and, have, a personality that is steady and long-term, and they want to kind of come in and help build something, and they're excited to be a part of that. So that's really, I think, what you're trying to find is people who want to be a part of a team and like that aspect.
Yeah. And one of the incredible things that you've built is you now have a system and you've got an engine that makes their life better. It makes their job easier. It provides them with a team.
Yeah, so we're really trying to, and this is another lesson that I learned the hard way, but you get what you pay for, right? And I think that's in all of areas of life, really, but we pay our employees really well. I pay my team really well. And we also try to have growth opportunities for them within the team. But I think that as a team, we have a overall high satisfaction level of enjoying our work, being able to communicate with each other. And that's a very important dynamic.
Absolutely, it is. And now those people taking care of all the things that you don't necessarily love about the business, or just like you mentioned, merging PDF documents, certainly not the highest and best use of your time if you don't love doing that particular activity. You mentioned high value activities. So as you're putting these people, you're putting these systems in place, it's freeing up a ton of your time. What are you doing with that time, and what are those high value activities?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, for me, it's all about relationship building. It's my mindset really changed when I stopped caring about a commission and started just really enjoying helping people. And I think that's just a huge thing in any business relationship or any relationship, really. I think a lot of people have a mindset of, what can you give me instead of what can I give you. And so for me, I love to meet with realtors. I love to meet with anybody who's local business in my community. And I love to pick their brain. I love to sit down and talk with them, hear about what they're doing that's working, what are the successes and cool things that they're doing, and then be able to share some of the stuff that we're doing. And so for me, it's a partnership. It's something where we can facilitate their success. We've had a lot of success marketing to our database, and that's a lot of the high value activities that are a really good first step when you're trying to grow your business, is reaching out to those people who are already a fan of yours, people who know you and know what you're doing consistently. It's not that they don't want to send you business, it's that they forget and you're not top of mind. So it's about staying top of mind with them, staying in communication with them. And that's really driven a lot of our growth. So from there, I really enjoy sharing that with my realtors, with other people that I'm meeting. So we do a lot of reaching out and just creating relationships. And then I actually am trying to help them grow their business. I'm teaching them, how you market to your database, how you can get more deals, how we actually use Connection Inc. as well, Chris, to follow up with realtor leads and help them convert more and bring in more business that way, because they're not touching their leads enough. Right. So there's a lot of things that we can do to jump in and help them out. And when you do it that way, it's just a natural relationship that develops. It's pretty cool.
That's it. And those the strongest relationships are the ones that are nurtured over time, where you're making that outbound commitment to those past clients. Now, do you have a process for that? Like how often you reach out to your past clients, what you send them? Is there a structure to it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely a structure. Two things that we're really big on, and there's other things that we do, but I would say that the highlights are we try to call our past database every week. Now, well, not try, we do. and we get through the entire database once a quarter.
Perfect.
So we're, every 13 weeks we've cycled through our whole database, and it's really an easy phone call. It's just, hey, we wanted to check and see how you're doing. We thought about you. We hope you're doing really well. Do you have any questions about your mortgage? And at the end of that call, we're doing a call to action and just saying, hey, can you do us a favor? Do you have any friends or family who might be looking to buy right now? We would love to help them out too. And it's not a salesy thing. We just want to be top of mind. We're here to help, and we want to hear how you're doing. So I think that is something that has worked very well for us. And then I would say the other thing is HomeBot. Nice. HomeBot is a piece of technology that is very set it and forget it. It's basically a monthly digest that goes out to all of our clients, our previous database. It's like a bank statement for their home. It basically gives them all the information about their house, what it's worth, how much they owe. It gives them a lot of really cool options of what they could do to build more equity, or it just gets them thinking about their house as an investment, really. And so it's not salesy, and it's not useless information. And it's something that goes out to them every single month, and we get a high level of engagement on those emails.
That's phenomenal. Now, are your VAs that you have working for you, are they watching that HomeBot system? And as people interact with that tool, are they reaching out to them because they engaged and taking that extra step?
They do. Yeah. So one of my VAs, one of my virtual assistants, is kind of like a virtual office manager, essentially. We've really gone very remote in our model. We all used to be in the office, and now I've got people working for me all over the country and all over the world. So my virtual assistant, that's our office manager, she manages a lot of our systems like HomeBot and makes sure that everything's entered in correctly. And then we're also reaching out to realtors and saying, hey, this is a really great tool for you too, and we can get your information going out to your previous clients. And so we'll take their information, put it into HomeBot for them, and help them out with that.
That is phenomenal. So I would say your number one high value activity is most likely your past customers.
Yeah, I think to start, absolutely. And then once you get those systems in place, when I started off, I was making those calls to my clients, every week. I would time block a certain amount of time, and I would do that. I'm not the one who makes those phone calls now. I have people on my team, my VAs. I've got a couple other people who make phone calls for me, and they help stay in contact with my clients. I don't focus on that now. I would say now, it's really getting out in the community. It's meeting with realtors. It's making relationships and building partnerships.
That is phenomenal. You're a business owner that's working on growing the business, and your systems are taking care of actually processing the business.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Which is phenomenal to see in the mortgage industry. Well, Brian, that is all incredibly helpful stuff. Thank you so much for taking your time. I know how valuable it is.
It's my pleasure.
If there's loan officers out there, or there's realtors that are listening to this that think, oh man, Brian's amazing, I got to connect with him and learn about how we might be able to work together, what's the best way for people to contact you?
My personal email, it's brian@fmshome.com. So that's BRIAN at F as in Frank, M as in Mary, S as in Sam, home.com. That's a really good way to get in contact with me.
That's fantastic. Well, again, Brian, thank you so much for being on the show. And for everybody listening, thank you for listening. And we will see you on the next episode. And thanks again, Brian.
Thanks, Chris. It was great. Appreciate you.
Hey, it's Chris Johnstone. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast. I hope that you loved it and got incredible value from it. Right now, it's time to head on over to iTunes and leave your 5-star review if you enjoyed this episode. When you do, you will be entered into our monthly draw to receive an Amazon gift card. So go ahead, leave that review today. It also helps us attract top talent and really get incredible interviews lined up for you so that we can share even more value for you. Now, for the show notes and for all of the resources that were mentioned in this episode, you can head on over to loanofficerwealth.com. That's loanofficerwealth.com. You get access to all the show notes from all the episodes, all the past episodes, get notified of new episodes when they drop, and we've also got some very special bonuses for you over on that page when you opt in. So head on over and opt in today, and we look forward to sharing the next episode of the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast with you soon.